Happy October, everyone, and today we have a very special guest, Trotter, who's going to tell us about some spooky stuff at Mayfair Mall.
I worked there for about 12 years, but I did security there for about, let's say, four years.
Let's tell everybody that beneath Mayfair Mall, not the first floor, not the second floor, but beneath it, there was a whole mall underneath there.
Yeah, there was a whole, I want to call it like an outdoor mall, pretty much. There's like a McDonald's, there's a sauna,
Ice skating ring,
post
office. It was huge.
Yep, there's even a theater that was down there as well. Yeah, there's pictures of what it used to look like. And it, like I said, it looked like just a regular outdoor mall or something. And just very low key and quaint, but then they built the mall on top of the establishments that were there.
Yeah, not many people even know about it, because this was around the 70s, 80s. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it nowadays in Mayfair Mall is completely shut off. No one can really get down there unless you really work in the mall. Mm-hmm. And I remember we both worked at Lego, yep. And we had access, and I was like, I'm good, it's looking real haunted, but you as a security guard and Lego, you got to see it from time to time.
Oh yeah, I saw it quite a bit. There was just a lot, like from elevators not working properly, people getting stuck in it, like.
Yes, I got stuck in an elevator for like hours in a shift. Thank God someone rescued me, but it's really creepy down there. But oh man, these are like big areas, and if anyone who's played Silent Hill 3, it's this dark mall, like mazy corridor system, and it's pretty scary even with a flashlight.
There's a lot of places that's down there that's just completely dark, no lights. So you need a flashlight. And you're walking around and you can easily get lost because there's so many doors and corridors you can go in, and like if you're patrolling down there or walking around, you'll go into some of the corridors and you'll see stairs that lead up. It's just the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then it's just random, or you'll see stairs that lead down to like completely nothing. In the boiler room, and the mall has like an abandoned bathroom and like almost like a locker room. There's like a shower and a few lockers that are like down there as well. They're all abandoned.
And that's the thing people don't realize, they are abandoned. They're not just empty, they're abandoned. Like there are mannequins, there are things that are still in full display.
There's even a bakery that still has the cakes.
Yeah.
Still in the display case. So I got into one of the units and went back there, and the cake was obviously rotten, it was old. But you can see that there were rats that ate through some of the cake, but it was all there, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I've heard many people say, for how abandoned it is, there's a lot of activity in regards to people move stuff around. Like, things are always moving around down there. It's not like you go down there, it's the same thing. It's just no one's touching stuff. There's clearly activity for an abandoned mall. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes the place so creepy. Like, everyone's got a weird story about down there. And it's just like, yours were the stories that stood out the most. I mean, plenty of people kind of talk about the malls being haunted in Wisconsin. There's a lot of haunted places in Wisconsin. But what caught me off guard was what you said, there was definitely like witchcraft activity.
One of the stories that stood out for me was there was one time I was working on a Saturday and it was like really busy. So there was a woman who dropped one of her earrings into like one of the grates in the center of the mall. They call it the center court. And I was like, okay, how do I get down there and get that for her? So it was a sentimental piece for her. I think her late husband got it for her. I was told this in the abandoned ice skating. So I thought, there's an ice skating rink down here. So I go down in the area to go find it.
And it's all dark.
So I had a flashlight. So I finally found the room. I had to get a special key to get into the room.
So this is not even accessible to anybody. You know, you get down there.
So I used that special key to go into the room, and I'm using my flashlight, and I'm seeing like spray paint. It's like on a wall. So I stood back and I looked at the whole thing. It was like the silver Metatron.
Very like demonic symbols.
Yeah, demonic symbols like painted all over the walls, and I thought like this is crazy.
It reminds me of that scene from Candyman where she comes to the mountain and it's all these like graffiti, like just a whole bunch of sigils and just all across the walls. And this is the
center court of the mall, like located right underneath the first level of the mall. This is where the ice skating rink used to be. But like they're like brick walls that were like built around it. But then on some of the walls was sigils. And it was all painted red.
How many sigils were across the walls? Like, were they big? Were they just...
One of them was really big. It was huge.
Was it just the walls from the floor?
It was on the walls. And then there was nothing on the floor, I don't remember. But then like it was on the next wall, there was like some smaller sigils next to this big one. But I just thought like, okay, who's doing this? And I found the woman's earring, thankfully, but it was really cold in that room. And when I left the room, I had told like my supervisor, like, hey, this is what I witnessed when I was down there. And they were like, what? Why are there symbols down there? I'm like, I don't know. I've never been down there before. So when I informed like my supervisor, they even informed the police and got them involved. So they went down there, and then like literally a week later, that room was barred off. Like no one has access to it anymore.
Not even with the key.
Not even with the key.
Which begs the question, why did you need a key in the first place? Yeah.
And I was always weirded out about it. I didn't question too much on it. I felt like maybe I wasn't supposed to go down there.
Okay, what else was down there besides all these sigils and symbols?
Like in a bunch of abandoned places, such as like there's a sauna, there's abandoned McDonald's. Like all this now is like storage for some of the stores that like come and gone over the years.
Yeah.
But like prior to all of those stores being there, you can go into like this McDonald's, the chairs were turned over. There was an abandoned theater. And this is a crazy story. I was sent to go get like some new uniform, like for our security guards. We had a lot of people starting. Took a wrong turn, go down like a few stairs, and there's a door.
Yeah.
I go through the door, and I was like, okay, this looks like an abandoned boiler room. But it wasn't. It was a theater. You can see the stage, and there was like only one chair just sitting there. And the chair was like turned over, like on its side. So I go over to the chair, and someone had like stuck a tag through a picture onto the chair, and turned the picture over, and there was like a little girl, a picture of a little girl with her eyes like cut. And once again, that room was like really cold. But every other room down there wasn't as cold as this one. And I just felt like, okay, I feel like there's something else. So I walked around in that area. You can see like there's a bathroom and like a little office area for that theater, and it was just all abandoned. So I went back to my supervisor and told him, yeah, why is that down? What is that? And they're like, oh, used to be a theater, never got used much.
And you said in one of these rooms you found a bunch of interesting books.
This is the abandoned post office. So within that post office, there's this little corridor. And in this corridor was a bunch of candles and like a bunch of books. And it was like books on black magic, white magic, and all types of things. And some of those sigils that were in books were on that wall. So I had reported that to my supervisor, and they were like, hey, who's been coming down here? I don't know what it all looks like now, or who's down there, or if there's any more sigils.
So clearly someone or some people were doing some kind of rituals or magic or witchcraft down underneath Mayfair for God knows how long.
There used to be 2 towers that are outside of them, and one of them I think is a hotel now. They're building one of the chain or the department stores there. I think it was North Carolina. But before that was even built, they were doing all the groundwork, so they had to turn off the power. So I'm thinking I had to patrol the mall, but no, I had to go into that building, and I had to stay in that building alone from 11 p.m. to like 7 a.m.
Is this the one that's no longer there anymore?
Yep, the one that's no longer there. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. Just be simple. Nope. All the power went out because there was no power, no generator, anything giving that place power. So they didn't want anyone to come in and ransacking the place. So they're trying to steal it. So I was left there to like guard it. And if something happened, someone would come, and I was like my superior, my supervisor, no. But while I was there, they still wanted me to patrol and walk around the building. So I'm walking around. I take the elevator up, and I'm on like the 7th floor, and I'm like, they're asking me, hey, yeah, what are you doing right now? And I'm like, yeah, I just got up to the 7th floor, and yeah, I'm just patrolling. So I'm walking around, and I appear into like one of the offices with my flashlight, and the reception desk. I'm looking at the reception desk, and I see the chair, and it turns slightly, and I start freaking out. So I get back into the elevator.
Because no one's there.
Because yeah, no one's there. So I'm trying to call the elevator to come back, but nothing's going on. So I have to take the stairs.
Because the power's out.
The power is out. So they reached back to me and said, hey, how did you get to the 7th floor? And I was like, I took the elevator up. And they're like, the elevator shouldn't be working. The power is out. How did you get up there? And I was like, the elevator.
Didn't you say you took the stairs? Because,
I took the stairs going
down. Yeah.
So I went back downstairs, and I ran to the basement of the building. I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden the elevator comes down to the basement. And
with no power.
With no power. And I was like, okay, the lights are on and everything. So I, out of fear, I'm sitting in between like the vending machines that are down there with my phone, And I'm talking on the radio like, yeah, the elevator's like down here and it's just opened up. And they're like, okay. And my radio cut. So I'm trying to communicate with them. I can hear them trying to say something to me. So I'm like, I don't want to get out. Like, what if something like grabs me? I'm petrified. So I finally get up, take the stairs back to the main lobby. And my radio is like, kind of like being wonky and weird. It's like a Silent Hill.
Yeah, static.
So I'm like, okay, now I'm really freaking out. I actually wanted to call them and say, hey, I don't want to like work this shift. I don't want to work in this building. And I turn around, there's a silhouette.
No.
Someone, and I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm about to get killed. I'm seeing things. Turns out that was a contractor who was trying to get into the building. The radio, they were signaling me to have that guy come in. But I explained to him like what was going on. He said, yeah, the elevator shouldn't have worked. Like, it shouldn't be working. So we're both pressing the button. Elevator isn't like responding to us. But like, yet I somehow took it to the 7th floor. And then, yeah, witnessed all of that. And it was just really bizarre. Yeah. I remember there was one story, I didn't witness this, but there was a coworker of mine who was patrolling down in the tunnels of the mall. And they said they heard like a little girl.
Yes.
And they were searching this corridor for a little girl. Did not find this little girl. And they kept saying, yeah, I think a little girl like came down here. And they're like, no one should be down there. Why is a little girl down there? They said, I can hear a little girl like talking. She said something. Didn't find it out. So I thought maybe this coworker was just trying to scare people or just make me up a story. But then there was one day I was working and there was a woman, it was a silver alert, and she went missing we heard she was at Mayfair. And we had a camera footage of her going down to the tunnels of Mayfair. And we went down there, like a few officers and like police officers went down looking. We never found her. So we're hoping she made it out, but
well, thank you, Chris, for telling us that. I thought it was super interesting. I love the paranormal and supernatural. I love all the stories people tell me because Wisconsin's filled with them.
Yeah, no, like all the stories you hear about the Pfister Hotel.
When enough people are saying these things, they don't even know each other. It's like, okay, what's going on? Well, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah.
And
glad to be here.
Yes. Come back if you have any more stories because these were good.
Yeah, there's always more. Who knows? I may go back to the mall and start working. And if you don't see me, then yeah, I'm in a tunnel somewhere.
Come back anytime. Anytime. And if you have a story to tell, paranormal, ghosts, or something unusual, let us know. Me, Jinx, and Chris, signing out.
Deuces.